I wanted so bad to say Jannik Sinner is going to pull off the biggest upset that we've seen in 10, 15, since 2009, Robin Soderling or something, right? I wanted to say it, but I knew deep down you don't bet against the King of Clay, but everything was aligned against him. The longer these matches went up, I saw the schedule and I thought Rafa and Sinner are up last when it's going to be its coldest. Humidity will go up. It'll be the slowest conditions possible, the lowest bounce on the Rafa forehand. All the things that people talked about at the beginning of this tournament, especially after Diego Schwartzman takes Rafa down in Rome, all those things coming together. And yet we've seen Rafa roll through opponents, and a lot of people kind of said, oh, maybe it's not a big deal. But as we said in the last show yesterday, it still is a big deal. And when the right opponent comes along, it's going to be very challenging for Rafa. I saw someone tweet to me on Twitter. Unfortunately, I have to go out of town again. If you didn't know, I had a sick family member that I had to visit. And unfortunately, that family member has passed away. So I am actually going to be going to a funeral tomorrow. I'm actually going to drive out of state tonight. But I said in the last show, even if an asteroid hits the Earth, I'm going to make a show. So forgive me. We have some stats and numbers for you. I'm not going to edit anything in tonight. You're going to see a Coffee Break Tennis logo. You're going to hear some really super cool music. And you're going to hear my thoughts on these two pretty amazing matches. A very, if you were a major Raw fan, I imagine those first two sets you were very nervous. A gripping match between unique Jannik Sinner and who eats carrots, by the way. Take a look at him. I will edit this one thing in. The Italian who loved carrots so much, it turned his hair red. Other than that, I'm not going to edit in anything. I already lost track of what my original point even was. The main thing here is we had every reason to think that Rafa could lose. I know a lot of people were pretty much over it and saying, Rafa's going to be okay. And I saw someone tweet to me, that's what I was saying earlier. Someone tweeted to me something pretty amazing. They said Jannik Sinner is a mixture of Robin Soderling, who shocked the world in the biggest upset in the last 15 years, I'd say, in 2009, beating Rafa Nadal. It's 2009, the only year Federer ever was able to win the French Open, thanks to Robin Soderling. He still sends him a thank you card every Christmas to this day. Just making that up. That's a joke. Maybe he sent him something. I don't know. Robin Soderling and Djokovic, the only two people to defeat Rafa Nadal here. And it's good. The guy whoever tweeted to me, kudos to you. I'm sorry I can't credit you because I can't remember who it was. Whoever tweeted that, it was a good way to put it. Jannik Sinner was hitting the ball big off of both sides, kind of like Robin Soderling. There was one point where Jannik, he slid, and the commentator was saying like, wow, that's like a 12-foot slide. And I was watching, I was like, it almost looks like he's skiing. And of course, they talked about how Djokovic was a great skier as a young child. And Jannik Sinner, of course, it was too, a world-class skier, switched to tennis at age 13, only 6 years ago. The guy's, he's 19 years old. And they were talking about how the skiing talents really help with the lateral movement. He looks so good out there, so balanced. He kind of does move like Djokovic. And then he's a taller, bigger guy than Djokovic, and he bangs the ball so big off of both sides like Robin Soderling. So how did Rafa do it? And I want to say one thing. We have some major stats. I really apologize that I'm not going to edit all of this stuff in, but it's pretty amazing. One of the guys who's been in tennis, a big name in tennis lately, is Craig O'Shaughnessy. He started a thing called Brain Game Tennis. He works with the ATP. He worked with Djokovic for a while. He's worked with a lot of ATP players. He digs deep into the numbers. And one of the big points that he's been making in recent years is that first strike tennis is the most important thing. The 0 to 4 shot rallies are number one. So how did Rafa do this? One thing I just want to point out with these stats is this is very different. These conditions are very different. I've seen people try to say, really, to the King of Clay, it's all the same out there. The fact that Rafa finds ways to win in these conditions against Jannik Sinner, and Sinner had him on the ropes. Like I said, if you were a Rafa fan, Sinner served for the first set. Sinner does get to a tiebreak. Rafa handles the tiebreak pretty well, though. But still, when you get to a tiebreak, anything can happen. Sinner served for up 3-1, served for 4-1, a break lead. When you're up 4-1, you usually win the set. That was the second set. He couldn't hang on there, and Rafa was able to break back and get it to 2-3. And then, of course, the third set, Nadal kind of blew him away. But Craig O'Shaughnessy has stressed over and over again that the 0 to 4 shot rallies is the majority of the points, and winning 5 to 8 shot rallies and rallies that go over 9 shots are just not as important. So let me tell you his main findings. This is 2016, 2017, and 2018 Roland Garros. All of them averaged together, all of the numbers, percentages of rallies that were 0 to 4, 5 to 8, and 9 plus shots. And then also the U.S. Open. This was like a big breakthrough because everyone's always talked about how on the clay the rallies are much longer. It's more fast strike, quick strike, short points, offensive tennis at the U.S. Open on a hard court, and much more defensive, drawn-out, long rallies on clay. And what everyone was surprised to see from Craig O'Shaughnessy's research here was that they were almost identical. In fact, one of the years, it might have been 2016 Roland Garros, the 0 to 4 rallies were more dominant. I think it was 71%, and the U.S. Open was like 69 or 70%. They were still close, but who would have ever thought there would be more 0 to 4 shot rallies at the French Open than the U.S. Open? So let me read the numbers to you. This is 3 years, so it's not a fluke. 2016, 17, and 18. Roland Garros, 0 to 4 shot rallies, 68.6%. What was it at the U.S. Open those same exact years? 68%. So literally more on an average of 3 years. More quick points, offensive quick points that end quickly on the clay. 5 to 8 shot rallies, 20.7% at Roland Garros, 21.2%. So more of those medium, they call them medium rallies at the U.S. Open. And the very long rallies, the rallies that go beyond 9 shots, 10.8% at the U.S. Open, and slightly under it, 10.7% at Roland Garros. That's 3 years of data. I don't have last year's for you. Let me tell you, obviously I didn't do the math on every single match at the French Open so far, but Dominic Thiem, Diego Schwartzman, what a match. Ben Roethlisberger's, sometimes he tweets things and writes things for the New York Times that I agree with, that I think are interesting points from the world of tennis, and sometimes he's dead wrong. And this guy has been crusading like the way freaking Mary Carrillo used to say, we need to have Hawkeye on every court, every tournament, and no challenges. You just get rid of the line judges. She was ahead of her time. She used to go on and on about this like, I don't know, when did Hawkeye first come out? Like 12 years ago or something like that. Ben Roethlisberger's, he's just as bad, saying we need everything to be best of 3. Best of 3 sets for the men at the majors. And he even wrote some tweet like, a lot of fans seem pretty annoyed. I can't remember the exact tweet. I'm paraphrasing, but he said, a lot of fans don't seem to be enjoying the length of this Dominic Thiem and Diego Schwartzman match right now. And I think really what it was Raw fans knowing what I knew, what I felt. Every minute, every hour that goes by, Nadal and Sinner, they almost get out there at midnight. It was like 11 p.m. when they started. They went beyond 1 a.m. The longer it goes, the worse the conditions are for Rafa and the bigger chance of an upset, right? So I think most of the people that Roethlisberger was noticing, probably just Rafa fans getting a little antsy and saying, come on, wrap this up, team. We need to get Rafa out there before it gets too cold. I got to say this. Hopefully I don't lose my train of thought from what I was just saying. But at one point, there was I lost the connection for the Tennis Channel Everywhere, or whatever they're calling it now. And I had to listen to the French Open app's Radio Roland Garros. And they said at one point, they said, the team of Rafa Nadal are huddled together. And this guy, he said, I don't know his name, I'm sorry. But he said, it looks like they're stranded on a mountain. They've been trying to climb Mount Everest or something like that. And they're stranded up there waiting to be rescued. They had giant, like you live in an igloo type winter coats, and they wrapped themselves up in their winter coats and giant blankets. That was the team of Rafa Nadal. It was freaking cold. So I think a lot of the people who weren't enjoying the long match We're Raw fans worrying about Rafa's outcome tonight. They were a little nervous. Don't let them lie to you. Everyone was nervous tonight for Rafa. And anyways, my point was 374 points in the Dominic Thiem and Diego Schwartzman match. How can you not love that match? What an incredible fight from Dominic Thiem. I had people on Twitter trying to convince me that Dominic Thiem's not tired. He's not tired at all. He just was, saving energy and peaking at the right time. Yeah, maybe at times he was holding back because he knew he had to work with only so much energy, right? He had the canister, as Roger once famously said, a canister for one match only instead of thinking about the macro career numbers. Yeah, maybe, but obviously Dominic Thiem was running on fumes, especially in that fifth set. He couldn't do it anymore. And I tweeted after the match was over, or in the fifth set when it became obvious, I think Shorty D went up 4-1 or 4-2 or something, and that's when I knew it was over for sure. I said, to those people out there who are thinking Thiem's not tired, this is what it looks like when someone's from like the top 1% of the top 1% fitness, humans around the world in that level of fitness, the 1% of the most fit people on the planet. This is what it looks like when a guy like that is completely exhausted. He can still do a lot more than me and you, right? He could probably still beat me, but for his own standards, for the standards of what it takes to beat Shorty D, no, didn't have enough. Guy was spent, out of gas. I was surprised that Thiem admitted it to press. Why even put that out there? I'm sure at some point Diego must have told himself he could hang in and wear Thiem down, because Diego choked away the second and third sets. Jim Courier was saying this should have been a straight sets win for Diego Thiem, and he said he had a great line. He said it's the desire to win this thing that Dominic Thiem has that's keeping him in it, and it's the same thing, the desire to win this thing that's keeping Diego out of it. I'm sorry I'm keeping you in suspense about the numbers on the rally lengths. I'm going to get to it very soon. This is such an epic day in the world of tennis. It was really a special day. But my point was, he was saying it was how much Diego wanted to win that kept him out of it, and how much Thiem wanted to win that kept him in it. He did choke away those leads that he had in the second, the third sets, but ultimately he was able to find the win and outlast Thiem. I have to wonder, Thiem saying that in press, surely someone on Diego's team must have heard that. It went through the grapevine. Somehow that had to have been in the back of his mind that if he could just hang in and get into a fifth set, he would win this thing. Anyways, here are the numbers. 374 epic points, Diego and Thiem. Very enjoyable match. If you think we should get rid of 5 sets at the majors, you're freaking crazy. 0-4 shots, 38%. Let me remind you again. For the 3 years, not counting last year, 2019, 2016, 17, and 18, 0-4 shots was almost just under 67%. In that match, it was 38%. At the U.S. Open, 68%, 38%. These conditions are legit. It's cold. It's slow. It's some of the slowest conditions we'll ever see. And it's, it's obviously because we're playing in the fall, the autumn. We're playing the French Open. So it's going to be very different. But who would have thought it was this different? 5 to 8 shot rallies, 30%. Much higher than what you see. 20% is about what you get for the 3-year averages of Roland Garros and U.S. Open. A little above 20%, 21% around there. The 9+ rallies, again, this was 10.8% at the U.S. Open for 3 years straight, averaged 10.7% at Roland Garros in the 9+ shot rallies. For Dominic Thiem and little Diego Schwartzman, it was 32%. We're freaking talking 3 times as many long points. The points are grueling. And it was, obviously we saw the match. If you saw that entire over 5 hour match, it was brutal. It was so physical. And Dominic Thiem, you got to believe him. He said he wasn't on a full tank anymore. He almost did it. He almost pulled it off, but he just couldn't. He couldn't do it. Let's look at Rafa. What happens? Even less. 0-4 shot rallies. Rafa and Jannik Sinner, 35%. 5 to 8, 32. The 9+ rallies, a whopping 33%, literally slightly more than 3 times the number of 9+ shot rallies from 3 years of Roland Garros and the U.S. Open. But throw that out. this is a different Roland Garros. Just look at these points. I'd love to see the data on all of the matches, but just looking at these two matches, the longer points, the heart of a lion, that kind of stuff really matters. Mental toughness. Because of the slow conditions, let me read a quote to you really quick. This is from the on-court interview with Rafa. Rafa said, he was hitting every ball very hard. For me, it was difficult the ball. As you know very well, with this cold, this spin is not there. So for me, it was difficult to pull him out of the positions. I think in the third set, I did much better. I finished playing much more aggressive, much more of the right feelings, much more of the Rafa. Okay, he didn't say that part. But he said, I finished playing much more aggressive. Yeah, the way he unloaded on some he had a 104-mile-an-hour winner on the forehand side at one point in that third set. He felt very comfortable to just let it rip. He was pretty sure, we all were pretty sure, that Mr. Sinner, and I had a great thumbnail. If Sinner had won, so many people would have been shocked and delighted to see a young talent do something so amazing. So many Raw fans would have been very upset. The thumbnail was going to say, it was a comment. It was actually a comment. Someone commented to me, hate the sin, not the sinner. It would have been perfect. I couldn't resist wanting to see Sinner win a little. But it's not because I'm a Roger fan. It's not because I'm a Fed head. Because to be honest with you, I see Rafa out there. I'm literally like 2 months older than Rafa. We're like the same age. And I want him to win, right? I want to see someone like me at my age, his age, we're the same age. I want to see that guys like me can still be top dog, can still win the most important tournaments. It's like a vanity thing or something, Even though he will tie Roger Federer's record, I don't want to see Rafa fail here. And I know how much it means to him. I know how much it means to so many fans around the world. And I don't know, it's a tough one. Obviously, I want Roger. The Grand Slam record, to Roger Federer fans, it's such a special thing. It's the ultimate bragging right. It's like gives you confidence or something. It's like a sense of pride. If you're a Federer fan, if you've been watching him for all these years, and you've been saying he's the greatest of all time, he's the GOAT for all these years, it's nice having that record. But how can you not like Rafa Nadal? He's a great guy. He's a lot of fun to watch. And, you feel like if you've been watching Federer all these years, well, you've been watching Nadal all these years as well, because they've both been there. You can't tell either story without the other player. You can't tell Roger's story without Rafa. You can't tell Rafa's story without Roger. And you can't tell either of their stories without Novak Djokovic. I think we're going to get Djokovic Nadal. Schwartzman will be tough. Looking ahead, I think Tsitsipas will get through. I think Djokovic will get through. Busta, of course. Be very interested to see them tomorrow. I will not do a show tomorrow, unfortunately. Like I said earlier, I have to drive out of town. I haven't been to a funeral since I was like younger than Yannick Sinner. So, yeah, that's rough stuff, and also don't expect a show tomorrow. If I manage to get back in town fast enough, it's only about a 4-hour drive, but still, if I manage to get back in town early enough tomorrow, maybe there will be a Patron Saint podcast. We really love and appreciate the Patron Saints. Couldn't do this show without them. I couldn't afford to have this much free time. I couldn't afford to cancel the tennis lessons I teach during the weeks of majors. In fact, wasn't able to cancel all of them this time. It's been rough with COVID and got to take what I can get. But, I've been, thanks to the Patron Saints, it's been possible to not actively try to teach as much as possible during these 2 weeks of U.S. Open, two weeks of Roland Garros. So if you love the show, if you want to see me do it more regularly and keep this show going and growing, go to patreon.com/Coffee Break Tennis. I do think Rafa will get through Diego Schwartzman. I think he's got more in the tank than Dominic Thiem had, obviously. It could be very tough. Just lost to him in Rome. This is different. This is a Rafa who's, we all know Rafa likes to hit the ball a lot. He gets better and better. He did in the match against Sinner. I can't say enough about Sinner. The guy was amazing. No better way to put it. He's kind of like a mix of Djokovic and Soderling. He's got the balance. He's got the footwork. He's got some focus that's out of this world. He showed more emotion in this match with Rafa than I've seen in any other match I've watched of him, and that was not a lot of emotion. But you can tell he wants it. He's hungry. He loves it. He's going to be here for a while. But it wasn't his time. Not now. You saw the last thumbnail in the last video. It said next versus now. There's no doubt Sinner's going to be a factor on, with a game like that. You could see him winning on every surface. He's going to be around for a long time. He's 19 years old. He's next. He's a guy like that you'd think has to win a slam at some point. But this is now, and this is Rafa's time. We're going to have some crazy match on Sunday. It looks like it's going to rain already. It looks like it'll be cold, but not as cold as this match. They'll play earlier with rain. They'll probably close the roof. You have to favor Djokovic, but after seeing what Rafa was able to fight through the challenges of the first and second set with Sinner tonight, because the weirdest thing of all, and I'm going to get out of here pretty soon because, like I said, I got to drive for 4 hours now, and it's a little after 9 p.m. here, so that's going to be rough. But like I said, if an asteroid hits the Earth, there's still going to be coffee break tennis after this special match where you see the generations, multiple generations, because remember, in tennis, a generation isn't as long as a generation in normal life. So you have multiple generations between Rafa and Sinner, right? You have the next gen. Sinner's at the, if Zverev is the oldest from the next gen, which if you ask him, he'll say, I'm not a baby anymore. I'm not next gen. He got really angry after he lost to Sinner. He got angry when someone was like, so guys like you and Sinner from the next gen. He said, no. We are not both in the same thing, right? So there is a little bit of a gap there, but we could say Sinner is from the end of the next gen because it's going to be a few more years from now. It's going to be another generation, a generation that comes after next gen. Zverev is one of the older players from next gen. Then you have like a lost generation, Anisha, Corey. Kyrgios is kind of in between lost gen and next gen. And then you have the golden generation, the big three, the big four. Let's put Andy Murray in there. You have the big four generation that Rafa comes from. So 2 generations separated. It was a big match. Can't say enough about Sinner. Hit the music. I got to get out of here. I got to get going. It's so much stuff to say. I will say one more thing, though. This is a big thing for me. It was very interesting because the same reason why Rafa may have some struggles with Djokovic, but I think he can pull it off. I think Rafa can get it here. I believe in him. I know Djokovic is going to like his chances and like the conditions, but one thing that was very interesting was the two-handed backhand is so good on Sinner, as I told you in the last show, that at some point it almost seemed like it was a bad matchup, Rafa's forehand to Sinner's two-hand backhand. When he was in trouble, Rafa was able to turn it around in the first and second sets by going forehand to forehand, the inside-out forehand in particular. Sinner expected a lot of shots to come from the Rafa forehand to his backhand, so he clearly went in there with a strategy of like, well, I'm just going to crush my backhand right at your forehand. Cross court, but to the middle, not to give Rafa any angle to work with. He's got a great team around him, Sinner. He had a great game plan going out there. He executed very well. You'd think if he had more experience, he might have won that match today. If he wins that first set, I still like Rafa to win it. That's why I said no matter what, I think Rafa's going to win, but I had a special feeling about Sinner being able to do something. Rafa will face the same thing in Djokovic, even with Shorty D. Shorty D, I know he's so short, but the backhand is so solid, and he's able to step in and take the ball before it gets too high. The bounce is lower. He's going to have plenty of practice going into a backhand corner of players who are really good with two-handed backhands before he sees Djokovic. That's just what the doctor ordered for Rafa Nadal. I like Rafa to win this thing after seeing the way he came through this. It's still like a coin flip. It's like 50-50, but I'm feeling 51-49 for Djokovic, 51% for Nadal. Destiny is on this man's side. He's the king of the clay, and now that they've introduced night sessions with the lights at French Open for the first year ever, he's also the king of the night. We'll be back in a couple days to preview the men's semifinal Friday and talk about what happens with Djokovic, Tsitsipas, Rublev, and Pablo Carreño Busta! See ya!